Like, you know, you can only raise your mother so much. I've done my part. I'm out of the house now. It's up to the youngest. So, Emma, that's the baton, you take it.
And I think I'm just going to end it on that because that's a bar. Is that what y'all say? That's a bar? You could only raise your mom so much is like, I need to get her a t-shirt that says that. That's wild. Y'all. So now you got a full dose of what did Emma say her chicken nugget was? Like, let your babies grow up. And you see how grown she is. She just told me she could only raise me so much.
I did my best. Look at her now.
She gets all the credit. What are you gonna say
really,
in my chat in the comments? She's gonna be like, my pride and joy.
I did my biggest one with her. And like Maya, she turned out well, but my mom, like, oh my gosh, I really poured into her. I could be more proud. My mom,
my
Dr. Amber Sessoms, by the way. Doctor.
That thing almost took me out.
Doctor.
That might be, that's like, I hope that's like a core memory. I really poured into my mom. That's the clip. That's the whole episode. She poured into me. She did her part. She's passing the baton to Maya and Emma.
Welcome to Living in 3D Power, a space where questions matter, stories heal, and joy is our practice.
Hey y'all, so we have a special guest
who
can't
do it again. Let's do it again. Okay, I'm ready this time.
Oh my gosh. Hey y'all, so it looks a little different this episode, right? Because there's a special guest.
Hey.
She's not imaginary, she actually exists. This is my oldest daughter, Jojo. So you often see Emma, who's the youngest, and then we also have a middle child, Maya, who was like, absolutely not. I will not be coming on the pod. And that doesn't surprise anyone. But I said, hey, Jojo, I'm filming this week. Emma's not here. You want to jump on here? And she's like, sure, why not? Down for whatever. So this episode's coming out right before Mother's Day.
Right.
And Mother's Day for a lot of people, you ever see the post where they're like thinking about mothers who are grieving the loss of their child or women who no longer have a mother or complicated relations with their mother. So I thought I always try to honor that because Mother's Day is always a little weird for me when I think about my origin story. And, you know, Graham raised me and my mom. So I wanted to honor that, but I also wanted to honor what we do now in episodes is Emma drops a chicken nugget wisdom. And I'm trying to carry that throughout the week. So I did ask her before she left and I asked her and I said, what's your chicken nugget wisdom for the week? And she said, you have to let your babies grow up. And I'm like, the deepness of it. So you are literally the embodiment of letting a baby grow up. And I'm going to flash some pictures across
She's going to embarrass me.
Yeah, some pictures. So she just had her 23rd birthday. So if you aren't following me on social media, you should. But if you are following, you will see the pictures of baby Jojo. And I don't know why she's getting cringy because she literally was downstairs saying, I was the cutest baby. Look at this picture of me. It's perfection, or whatever you said.
And this is true.
She's not biased at all about her being the favorite. But all parents know there's no favorites. There's also different levels of relationship that you have with your children. And it's also interesting that you have it at different levels. So our kids are way too spaced out. I would not recommend it for anyone. So we have 23, almost 17, and 11. So almost all 6 years apart. And I think because you've been with me, obviously, the longest and through different stages. I wanted to kind of talk about that today. And something your dad said is really interesting. He said, each of the girls is different stages of you. He said, you're the stage of me that was when we first started dating. Like the college me.
Oh, yeah.
It's also like the same age.
Yeah, literally.
Maya is like the version of me through grad school, the nerdy me. I've always been nerdy though, but like that's the version. And Emma's me now.
Yeah.
So I was like, so you agree with that?
Yeah. He told this to me too.
He what?
He said this to me too.
Okay. So yeah, so I want to talk about some of those stages. So we try to keep these episodes to 3 questions, but we just kind of let it flow where it flows because the idea is, right, like the conversation is going to go where the conversation goes. Unscripted. I'm not going to say, I'm like, we're going to see where it goes.
I just got here like an hour ago.
She came because today is Kibo's birthday.
Happy
She came
Kibo Day.
To say birthday to the fur baby.
My pride and joy besides Maya.
Yes, and we do know that. So I'm also going to share that Maya just had her prom. This child
I'm like, don't even bring it up.
literally cried the whole day. She could not get her life together. I'm going to link these posts because they're so good. I don't think did I post about
No,
you
you
crying?
didn't.
Oh, I put it in my stories though. It was
Yeah,
a scene.
you
I
didn't
shared it in the
archive
family
it.
chat. I said, this woman
Oh my God.
is out here crying. Like she came over to, she was a great big sister, did her hair, makeup. She put her hair up, broke down in the bathroom.
couldn't.
Talk about because she could see it coming.
I just knew it was gonna happen.
And then we get to the place to take pictures, and she literally is full out ugly crying.
Like the only one, by the way. Okay. I'm like, okay.
All the parents are there, like, okay, Jojo.
Like, we're not
Mind
even
you,
her
it's
mom.
only junior prom.
Not even her mom.
Not even her mom. Not even senior prom. She says, you're going to have to, what did you say?
Kill me. Kill me.
That's drastic. You said I'm going to have
Sedate
to.
me.
Sedate. That's still drastic, though.
Like,
She said, I'm going to have to sedate
ambulance
her
on standby
when
during
she
I
graduates from
Like,
high school.
The G word. Let's not even say it yet.
Ridiculous. And then Maya posts her prom pictures, and Jojo has the nerve to post in the caption, my pride and joy. Like, girl, who's her
I
mom?
literally call her that to everyone I know. I show her off. I showed my manager her prom
Why?
picture. I showed my supervisor.
Well,
I
yeah,
said,
that makes
said,
sense.
guys, look at my sister. Look how pretty she is. I said, she looks so pretty. Like, I know. I was a wreck. Like, I was literally a wreck.
Did you also show them you crying?
No, I couldn't find it. And you know I don't have the family group chat notifications on. Like, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Neither her nor Maya have the family group chat notifications on. I don't know about you and teenagers or young adults, but they don't like notifications, apparently. So when you need to get a hold of them,
But I answer your phone calls.
no.
Might have lied. Sorry. I call back.
She doesn't have notifications on, so that's a problem. So anyway, we digress. So what I thought is like, we'll do this natural arc. So we talk about discovery, the kind of things that you're learning about yourself or unlearning. And then we get to what is most true about yourself. And then getting to like, okay, what does this look like to build community, to walk alongside each other, to heal? Like, that's the point of everything. Like, if anything I want in life, I just want people to heal and be whole. And that's messy, and you know that. But what I tell people is it's worth it. It's worth doing the work as much as it is hard and it sucks and it takes time. The other side of it is so much better than like sitting in your trauma or your grief. So we'll see where this conversation goes. I just have, I think, 3 or 4 questions. We're gonna see how this goes. And it's interesting because I was just talking to you today. I was at the Capitol today, and I was with a bunch of the next gen commissioners. So they are, I don't know if they go up to age 25, I would assume, but Governor Shapiro has commissioners that are all across the Commonwealth that are young people that engage with young people and ask them what they need. And one of the young men, I was kind of talking about our story, and he was like, oh, that's so inspirational. And, you know, my mom had me at 18. He said 17 or 18, and he kind of talked about her past. And he said that he realizes now, as an adult, as a young adult, what he didn't know when he was a youth. So it made me think about that because I've had a lot of young people say that. And I remember I was leading a healing circle, and one of these young men came in and said something similar, and all the moms are in there in tears because we're like, we just hope all our kids get to that point and see us that we're like, you know, we hope we didn't screw them up for the rest of their lives and that they see that we tried our best. So with that, the first question I want to ask you is, what is something you understand now about my motherhood or our relationship that you couldn't fully understand as a child?
Like, you literally just do what you could. Like, okay. And like, let's sit down and chat. Because it was really when I turned 22 and I was like, wow, my mom had a whole me when I was, like, that birthday, I was like, whew, gosh. Because I know how I was at 22. Not fit to be someone's mom. 23, still not fit to be someone's mom. Probably up to like 29, still unfit to be someone's mom. And that, but like, it's like, okay, in college, lived with Aunt Dana, shout out my goat. And then boom, here comes little me.
At that point, I was still in the apartment by myself.
Oh, so no Aunt Dana.
Yeah, I was living by myself, working full time, dropped out of college.
Yeah. And then here comes me. And like, I was just like thinking, I was like, how did she even do that? Because there's no, if I was in that position, I'd probably just like cry for months straight, probably.
I did cry.
Well.
But not for months. But it's interesting you say that because I do a Sunday pause, and it came to me. There was a question that came up and it came back to me that it was a birthday question. And you were born 10 days after my 22nd birthday. And I could go back to the same place. And I said this to Aunt Dana. Aunt Dana and I have different recollections of things. She'll remember stuff I don't remember and vice versa. And it's like the traumatic stuff. It's like she don't remember it, but I'll remember it. She was like, remember when I ran over to your apartment and like tried to save you? And I was like, girl, like I do kind of remember that. But at any rate, I was sitting in Uncle Jason's house on his bed. I'm like sitting on the corner of the bed. Uncle Jason's here, Dana's here, and I'm bawling because I think it was my birthday. It was my actual birthday, and I'm sitting here, I'm like, I'm about to have a baby in 10 days, and this jerk is like horrible, like, right? Like abusive, all the things, and like, what am I going to do? And I'm working at that point, but I was like, I remember like, that is where I think birthdays were always hard for me because of my mom. And then there was another layer of grief where I'm like, my life is a mess right now. What am I going to do? That's what I thought and that's what I felt. So when I asked that question, or the question came up, I was like, ooh, I felt it back in my body. But then I could be like the full circle of you last year, 2022, and seeing the path. I remember even going back to the apartment. I think I put that in your birthday reel where you went back and recreated the picture that you took when you were little. I
still need to do that. A tree's still there.
Yeah, like the apartment is still there. And to think about the path that we took and how I had to grow up quickly. And what I always said to you was, I remember it was probably, I think you were like 2 weeks old. And I'm in the apartment and your biological father was like, I'm going to take you, and like, he's going to take you out and like show you around, like, you know, ooh, look at this baby. And he came back and you were screaming, crying. You were like, because you were hungry and I was nursing. So instead of letting me nurse you, he was like, go pump. And I was like, give me my baby so I can actually nurse her. And then he just went erratic. And that's when it took you being born for me to be like, I deserve better and I deserve to be whole and to be safe. And that's why I always thought, I forget when we had this conversation when you were younger, I was like, you helped me to like see that I am worthy of love and I'm worthy of protection and all those things. So that was like, you saved me. Like that was like the thing. Like I'm like, this child, there's a purpose in her, and she made me look at you.
Don't even bring it up yet. I'm trying like so hard. Cause really, what 10 minutes in, like guys, I'm sorry. Just her eyes, like it's been all week. I cried 3 times yesterday.
Why are we crying?
I'm like, let's just keep.
Listen,
going.
we let the feelings come out, and as they need to come out, because it's better to come out than to come in. But that's real, like for me. And so when I was talking to the gentleman earlier, he was saying his mom. Right, she's 18, she had to grow up. And I saw another post someone was talking about, someone that's a leader in Lancaster, she's like, I had you when I was in high school. So there's so many women that have a similar story, but not all of them took the path that I took and was like, I'm going to make something better. Like, and I hate to make a hard turn to my biological mother, but it's like she had an opportunity at 18, right? She got pregnant. And one, she hid the pregnancy and she didn't disclose it until like a couple of weeks before I was born. She's in Texas. But I think about those things. I actually never made that connection until now. Like she had the same opportunity I had to make a change and she chose not to. Now layer in mental health issues, but that's the part I think that I agree. But I think about motherhood and like what she could have been and how she could have changed her life. She did that with Sydney more and then kind of fell back off the path. But yeah, it's just a very full circle thing to think about. All the ride that we've been through, and you've seen the worst of me, and now you're getting to see like, okay, this is what mom looks like when she's whole. And I think for you as a adult, there's a grieving like that you had to like get the rough ride, right? And then like, you see like the girl's got a better version of me, and how do you give me grace to that, or how do you reconcile that where you're like, dang, I got like, mom had no money, like no food in the fridge, like struggling mom, and you didn't get any of that version. I don't know if like there's anything that comes up for you when you think that, but I think about that, like being the youngest, because I get that being quote unquote, I get that kind of being the youngest with Graham, and like the older ones, my uncles and aunts will be like, I didn't have a TV, mom, I didn't have this. And I'm like, well, she didn't have anything then, but she had. And like, what are we supposed to do? Like still, it's that issue where I think it's like, okay, well, I'm a young person, I don't fully understand it, but like she's spoiled and I didn't get that. But I remember there were times like when I was at a mom's house, which was the free daycare. I don't know if you remember, do you remember mom's house? And like, so Rita,
yeah.
Rita, my forever mentor, was like, when I finally was getting back in school, you were 1 year old. I came back, I think that May 26th, I started classes again. It was like literally you were one in 1 month, and I came back to school, and that's where I saw your dad, and I'm like, and then we reconnected. But I remember she was on me about like getting back in school, and I lost my train of thought because it's what happens with, because I'm 45. This is why I'm showing my age.
Allegedly.
What was I saying before that?
Mom's home.
Mom's house.
Mom's house.
Mom's house was free childcare. So if you were a student, I think if you were working too, but I think you had to be a student. If you were in college or maybe even high school, you could get free daycare. So I remember you would have like Christmas, and they have a Christmas tree, and you could put anything that you wanted to get your kid for Christmas, and all these rich people that you didn't know would buy it for you. So I'm like, you had the most amazing Christmases, because like I didn't have it, but you know, the family always pitched in. But then I remember Aunt Dana moved, and then I was like, oh crap, I'm on my own again, and I don't have no money. I could only get you a Christmas tree. So I remember like spending all my money getting you a Christmas tree, and I think I got you like a Christmas outfit, and I was like, I don't have any money to get her stuff. And the whole family pitched in and got you like a weave.
I remember.
They got you all this stuff for Christmas, and like that was, to me, like, even though I was struggling, like I wanted to make sure that you never felt that. And I don't know, like maybe did you feel that? Because I talked to older people, and they're like, I didn't really know I was poor. I mean, we were poor.
Yeah, I don't know. You like telling me as I got older, but I didn't realize until like when I was older and we went back to the apartment. I was like, oof. Ugh.
Yeah.
And then moving here, I was like, oh, this is nice. I had my own room for like 5 minutes, then out came Maya.
Right, you did have your room for like 5 minutes. And then we moved, and you had your own room with a walk-in closet. I was like, how?
And then I was so up. I was so up.
Yeah, so you didn't realize that we didn't have
No,
much.
because kids only care about toys. And I had that door kitchen. That's all I needed.
Oh my gosh, the Dora kitchen. I'm trying to think who got you that Dora kitchen. I forgot about the Dora kitchen. Yeah, you had all the things. But do you remember us being in the same room?
Yeah.
So you remember that, but you still didn't think like we were poor or anything.
No, I was like, hey, it's time for Mom. Because my
So
bed was by
had
the
the
wall.
small, yeah, she had the little room, and like we had the bigger room, and I had my bed over here, and you had your like baby bed over here. And you still were like, no, this is great.
No, I was like, I thought this is how kids were supposed to live. Like, okay, this came out. Now I'm here, right next to her.
Right. And that was part of me going to school. So do you remember like even going to campus?
Yeah.
And you were like the testing guinea pig. So when I was in my master's program, school psychologists needed to test a child. And I was the only one in the program that had a child. So they're like, can we test your daughter? And you used to be like, can I get tested again? This is so much fun. And I'm like,
Me still.
So she could never get an IQ and achievement test. I mean, I think we had to figure out another way to get you done, because you had been tested so many times because they were just studying on you. And so you were just this exceptional child. They were like, oh, can we borrow your daughter to test? We need to practice.
Well, yes.
So yeah, it was I think you had a very unique experience because you were kind of like a campus
I was a
kid.
campus baby. I was just raised by women, which I couldn't recommend more to literally anyone that has a kid. Get your kid around some girls, because I was around my mom, then Aunt Dana, Aunt Dinah, Meredith at their houses. Shout out Meredith and Fraggle Rock.
Fraggle Rock. This is true. Oh, Jojo. Yeah. So that helps me, because I'm like, I'm struggling trying to make sure, and that you're saying, no, I had people in the village that helped me to feel loved and safe and supported when I was trying to figure out how am I going to go to school and pay for all the things and take care of you. That is true. If it, like Meredith did, like when we were in the same grad program, so Meredith would watch you. I don't know how we didn't have the same, because we were in the same cohort, but how we didn't have the same classes, but she would watch you at night, and we would just figure it out. I think because she had an apartment, close to campus, like close to us.
I'm like, sorry, I threw up in your house. I still remember that.
Oh, well, I think she was swinging you around in the chair, so she was like, it's totally my fault.
I puked. I still remember that. OMG.
And then thinking about even like Aunt Jo before she had grandkids, like even though do you still have the scar?
You sure do.
Face first on the swing outside on the porch. So that, and then Graham, even I think you bust your eye.
Yeah.
I thought for sure you broke your occipital lobe.
Right.
But so those things, but that makes me feel good. Like you had a village. And then Uncle JJ.
Yeah, Uncle Jay, Uncle Ralph.
You had a village. And you can't do it without a village. So all these moms out here that are like, I'm toughing it out. Like I'm a single mom. Like that ain't it.
No.
That ain't gonna work. And so I think that's what allowed me to get through school, because I had the support and the help and the encouragement to be like, you can do this. Oh, that's good. So that gave me some perspective. I appreciate that. I don't even know. Okay. I'm gonna have to sit with that one. Cause yeah, I had a whole village. Cause I remember sitting there and being like, and so you're bringing it up for me, cause what I said in the pause was, I am all alone. Like, how am I going to do this? And your Uncle JJ and Aunt Dana are like, we're right here. And remember, we would be like, I'm like, yo, they're like parenting. They're like part of the parenting group. Like, we all parented together. Like, and I think Uncle JJ was saying that. He's like, I know nothing about raising a kid. Like, I think he was a teacher at that point, but like none of us did, but we figured it out together. Like, and they were both in education. And I think when I was at work, like Aunt Dana would like leave work, go pick you up out in the middle, like all the way on the other side of town in the city or outside the city when I would be in class. And we would just, because I had like strange hours then. I worked like a middle shift at Phil Haven, which was like a mental health behavioral program. And we made it work. There was another person that was a school psychologist I would take you to her house. I can't remember her name, but she would watch you. You had a village. And so it's teaching me even now, like when I am more resourced, that I didn't make it without people. And like, I can't be like, oh, I can do this on my own. Like, no, you always need people. So I think that is giving me some perspective. So I appreciate that. That's good stuff. Okay. So I think you answered that, but you said like, I don't know how you did it, but the 22-year-old thing is like, ain't no way. Now she jokes, her and Maya joke and say, you ain't getting no grandkids from us.
And like,
Emma said she's going to at least have 2.
I'm like, she's 11. What does she know?
Right.
And I was just talking to these 2 older women at my job. They're like, you don't want kids? I was like, short answer. Well, both answers are no. But short answer, I'm the oldest.
So
oldest in every aspect.
So why no? Why do you
Short
think
answer. Long answer, y'all see the president. And y'all see the way the world's looking. I'm not bringing a kid into this mess. But that's hard to get through to people. So I just say, oh, no, I'm the oldest. I've been raising kids. I don't need another one.
Yeah, and that's like, I think because there's like a heaviness to what you're saying, like even though you're saying it like tongue in cheek, but that's real. Like, and I was just talking to the next gen people about that today. I said, we're not a future focused, future oriented society. Like, we don't care about kids in this country, like in the world, like, right? You think about the Maasai people, like they talk about like, how are the children? If the children are well, then we're well. This country is like, no, children are disappearing. We're sex trafficking, like Epstein files, like all the things. So that makes complete sense that you're like, I'm not going to bring a child into this mess. But the question and the push, aren't you going to have kids, is a very American value. Like, and there's something wrong with you, or you're pessimistic or whatever, or you're a man hater because you don't want to have kids. And I'm like, that's not necessarily the case. Like, you're making a conscious choice to be like, in the current state of our world, I would be terrified, right, to bring a kid. And I think about it. I think that's why I work with you so much, because I'm like, it has to keep me hope focused, because there's so much despair in this world. I'm like, these kids, these young people have so much wisdom, and just let them lead. Listen to them, because we ain't doing it right. Like, y'all don't trust us. And I get why you don't trust adults, because I'm like, we are messing everything up. This country is on fire, and people are like, let it burn.
Yeah, no. It's already too hot outside.
Girl.
Have you been outside today?
I was outside in a black
Oh, yeah,
suit,
Graham told me. I'm so sorry that happened.
like in front of the Capitol. And I'm like, yeah, it was hot. It was hot. So I get that, why you would say not right now. And I think for some women, like when they think about Mother's Day and they're like, women that are older and they're like, oh, I wish I could have had children. But some women choose not to. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's your choice. And you don't have to follow the traditional path of like, this is what you should be doing at like 25 or like 27. Like, we got married at 27. Like, these are the things you should do. Like, by whose standards and whose expectations? And is it okay for you to be conscious and wait until maybe you're more resourced, or that you feel that this world is not in a place of utter destruction?
Right.
I don't know when that happens. And I'm like, I'm hoping it swings the other way, but it's like, we got to go crashing down. We're at the 250th year and every empire comes down. So like, what does it look like on the other end? So that makes sense to me. And I wonder how many of your peers feel that way. Cause I'm thinking about the recession, which was like 2008. People decided not to have children because of the economy. And I'm wondering, for your generation, is there data that shows I'm not bringing a kid into this world right now.
All the people I surround myself with are the same way. Like, there's no way we would bring an innocent. Because I was just talking to Amir with this. Shout out my goat. If you see this, please don't. But we walk around Midtown some days, walk for miles and just talk. We're like, the way that everything's looking, have to be literally, and like, sorry if you have kids, but like a little crazy to bring a kid in and feel like okay about it. Because it's horrifying.
Yeah.
Like, just even like seeing stuff with the files and like the school pictures. Like, my kids can't even get school pictures because y'all creepy. What?
Oh, I don't know anything about that.
Oh no, the camera company would sell the pictures to Epstein so he could pick his fave. Like, stuff like that.
Wow.
It's just like, that is horrifying. But like, because we were on our walk, we went to our bodega, sat in front of the market, and just like ate and talked. And the cutest families were walking by, and I was like, because it was this black lady and a black man. Her hair was incredible, by the way. But they were pushing a cart with 4 girls, and they all had princess crowns. I go, in a perfect world, that would be me.
Right.
4 girls
in a perfect world, Key.
in the princess crown. I almost cried. And then we walked by a school, and like, I'm just a mess. And it was like Women's History Month, and they all drew their favorite woman. I cried on the window. Their little, and I love kids. I don't hate kids.
Right.
Everyone knows I love kids, but ooh, it's scary outside.
You're right. I get that, and I think like I try to live in like this both and world. Like, yes, the world, like, people are evil and wish harm upon so many people. They don't see people as human, and they can just abuse and use it. Like, when you have that power, like Epstein, all of the things, Trump, all of the things. And then I'm like, and also, there's so much good. Like, there's so many people that have light in this world. So both can be true. And like, so I think that's how people reconcile. Like, if I'm bringing beautiful life into this world, and even though there's so much brokenness and darkness, is that my little piece of light that I bring into the world? Is this a creation that I can show that is going to change the path, and maybe this is a future change maker, or that I can cultivate a section of my own individual world that is more whole and more free than the world out there? And that's what I try to do. Like, what can I do within my sphere of influence to change things and like be more hopeful here and to create a healing path here? Because I can't work, like, the whole world is too big. What can I do within my world to change things? And I think that keeps me from going down the path and being like, oh my God, I have 3 Black daughters in this world, Black woman in this world, like Black husband, like that's scary. And to keep from there, like, what can we do to shift things individually and collectively? Because if I don't lead there, then I'm like, forget it all. Like, we move into, I don't know, that's why I did get y'all passports immediately.
Sure did.
When he got elected, I was like, oh, just in case we gotta go somewhere. We've talked about like building compounds, going to other countries. Like, I have friends in other countries that are like, listen, you come over here, we got you. So that's real too. So the both and letting yourself feel the weight of it, and also being like, I can't stay there. So when you walk around Midtown, you still see the little kids, and it still brings you joy. Like, you still have hope that you can see life and people living freely and fully, as opposed to the nonsense that goes on in this administration. So I think, yeah, both and is good. Okay. So my next question for you is, what do you think it means to give parents grace while still honoring your own feelings and experiences?
And I literally was just talking to my therapist with this.
Oh, look.
Shout out Christine, my goat. Obviously, like, back to the whole being 22 with a kid, I could never. So that's where my grace is given, because you had too much going on. Like, not even just a lot, way too much. No need to add a baby on top.
Yeah.
And then here, and I would just also like to point out, if it was any of the other 2 girls, she would have been cooked. Thank God it was me.
Is so true. I say that all the time.
It was me. So
I would have never graduated.
Grace to me
Literally,
as well.
she had to come to class with me, and you would sit in the back of the class and just color and be quiet. Maya or Emma,
Dude.
I got kicked out the program.
Oh, absolutely.
That is true.
Shout out me, my goat. Like, okay. What was the question? Oh,
The
no,
grace.
Yeah. So, yeah, you had terrible apartment kid. Thank God for Hondana. And then that man, my father,
That man.
which was just, oh gosh, that's the too much right there.
Yeah, all about
That's
itself, right?
yes.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't remember that time, like I did a podcast and I was like, Jojo, I never talk about that side of my story, like, but I think I need to tell it. And you were like, you should, Mom, you should tell it. But I think I didn't say that part of it because I was trying to protect you but there's a shame attached to like that you didn't ever need to carry. But I feel like that, and maybe it was like my shame too, but I'm like, dang, I chose such a horrible partner. And this is her biological father. But I think there was a freedom in being able to name that. And I just recently did a keynote and I shared a little bit of it. I had like my collage and there's a picture of you at my undergrad graduation. Remember, you're like on my shoulder,
Crying
like,
the entire
crying the
day
entire
again.
time. And I think you sat in my lap. Then you came back like during the ceremony and sat with me.
Graham tells me.
So I was telling people that, and they're just like, "You're so strong and all the things," and I'm like, "Yeah, I guess I am." But it's like, but you're right. Like that was a lot all by itself. Like that one situation, being a domestic violence survivor and thriver. And I mean, even thinking about, I think when you were little, you would be like, what's that scar? And I'd be like, oh, when you're older, I'll tell you. I don't know if Maya ever asked me, but Emma's asked me before too. She's
And
like,
Maya
"Where'd you
doesn't
get-"
ask questions. That's why she's not here.
But you asked me and Emma asked me like the scars on your body. So you have these visible reminders, but I'm like, even your dad asked me recently, like, do you think about like that time of your life? Like, do you think that you're the same person? I'm like, I don't know who that person was.
Right.
But I feel like I'm so detached. But when I go back to that and I think about the trauma and the abuse and like the psychological, like, and how like people that are abusive will find that little thing that you don't even let be known, right? And they discover it and then they just use that to dominate. And you could tell me I wasn't the new hot girl on campus, like, because everyone, it was like freshmen on campus,
Baddie.
I didn't talk to anyone. Like your dad was always like, yo, you didn't talk to none of us, but you won't get with that dude. Like, what the heck? Like, and so that was the whole thing. Like, but he found that thing within me to manipulate. And that was like my healing work. I was like, ooh, that's the stuff from my mom where I felt like I was unworthy and not enough. That if you don't do that work, it'll manifest in your relationship. So yeah, like that was a lot all by itself in 22 and all those things. So you're saying the grace was like, you were young. Like you were going through a lot. Like
You were a child. With a child. No, you were a child.
Oh, I was a child. And like, yeah, trying to go back to school, getting kicked out, dropping out of school, not having money to go back to school. And then finally getting the money because I got that income tax return because I had you. And it was literally the same amount of money I needed to pay back my fee from school. And I won't even say fee. Fee is very kind. I got sued by the university because I was a scholarship athlete and I quit. So I had to pay back the scholarship. I didn't have the money. But that refund from having you was the exact money I needed to pay back to get back in school. And I'm like, testimony right there. I remember saying that today. They were like, that's a testimony right there. I'm like, yeah, but you're absolutely right. Like, I would have never graduated if I had had any other kid because you were literally on my hip. I had to bring you to class. And shout out to the professors who didn't shame me, who weren't like, you can't bring. I had one professor, though. She did.
Ugh.
She did because you had your first, I don't know if it was your first asthma attack. Jojo was diagnosed with asthma at like 6 months. So on top of me being a new mom, single mom, living not far away from family, but like, you know, this, I'm like, why is she breathing like that? Why is she coughing like a seal? And they're like, oh, she has asthma. I'm like, a baby got asthma? Like, how is that even possible? So I would take her in the shower. I would take her out in the middle of the night so she could breathe. And then she finally got the diagnosis. Jojo's allergic to everything.
I was like for 5 minutes yesterday, my eyes started itching. I said, I have to go.
Like, Emma's at camp right now, Camp Peabody, and I'm a little nervous because she has allergies like you, but they call me like day 2 of camp. Jojo's eye just swollen shut because he's allergic to horses. I'm like, of course she is. Of course. I'm hoping your sister can make it through camp.
Like, how would I know?
But they tested you for everything. I guess they didn't test you for horses.
Because who's allergic to horses?
So I'm going through navigating all that. And I remember you had an asthma attack and I had to do group process as my master's program. So group process is basically like you sit in a classroom with your peers and you just tell all your business. And the professor was one, and I got some good juicy stuff to tell. So I couldn't go to class today because I'm with you in the hospital. You're like 4 years old, 3 or 4 years old. And I missed class, but I was like, my group partners like figured it out. Like, or the people that are like, we got you, like go to class. Everyone was great. Like they supported me through the program. This lady tells me it was inappropriate for me to miss class. When I said, but when she gets discharged, I'm going in that office She then went and tried to get me kicked out of the program because she said that I had too much going on in my life that I could not dedicate to the program. And my professors came to bat for me. Department heads, everything. They were like, she's the number one student in our program.
The clock that's my mom.
She manages it well. Like, what are we talking about? But I also am learning now because I just told Instagram, I said, there's so much going on in my life. Like, so much heaviness, so much grief, like terminal illnesses, all the things. We just got like word another person in our life is like terminally ill. And I'm like, I'm at capacity. And I said to Graham, I said, I think I need to go to the doctor and talk about medication. And what she say? You're strong, Amber. You don't need that.
And again with that S word. Like,
and that's what I believe. And I'm not saying like I do have good coping skills, but also I said to my therapist, and she was like, any one of the things you're navigating is too much. Altogether, she's like, give yourself grace, just like you give everyone else grace. Like, it is okay if you need something to help you manage right now. But that's the thing. It's like, I've been through worse. And look at me. Like, I was single married. Like, so, but I'm like, but also, it's not right for me to have endured that. Mm-hmm. So I think about that too. Like, what is it doing to my body? And I don't want to go back to that trauma response. So how do I keep myself whole so I can show up for y'all? Because like, I feel myself being like, oh, I'm withdrawing. Like, I'm overwhelmed by little things. I'm like, this is not good. So it's like, I talk about like high functioning depression. Like, yeah, on the outside, it looks like I got it all together. But like the stuff that the everyday daily task takes me more energy to do now. So I'm like, that's a red flag to me. Or when I want to disconnect and be alone, I need to check in with that. So those are kind of things where I'm like, that it's heavy. What do I do to care for myself? And that's why I'm always like, therapy. And I know you were like, I don't want to go to therapy. You can't make me go to therapy. Well, but look at you now. Shout out to my therapist.
Explain to the class why. Explain to the class why. Because I was in therapy just before I could talk. So.
But why?
Well, it's not my fault. It's that man's fault.
I had this child. Her first phrase to me,
I still tell this.
Daddy's mean. Daddy's bad.
Beat Gigi.
Daddy beat Gigi.
Yeah, daddy hit Gigi.
So we're in custody agreements, and I'm like, wait. Back then, I just looked this up recently. I had a full circle moment because I did this Women's Commission kickoff and I just briefly talked about my experience. And I'm like, one of the things that we don't focus on in Pennsylvania, we didn't at the time, and I remember writing a master's thesis on this, was children witnessing abuse, domestic violence, not being a form of child abuse. And so we were one of the states, and we have some statutes now that surround that, because of some recent things with child abuse, but I'm like, it absolutely is a form of child abuse. And it's hard, I guess, to prove, like from the judge's perspective, how it affects the child. But I could very clearly see it affecting you, because I remember you said that. We had a custody hearing. You know what the judge put in the custody documents? Do not do physical or violence in front of the child.
Obviously.
Wild.
Put the baby away and then beat your wife.
Wild, right? That they would write that. And I remember like being in this, shout out to the domestic violence legal clinic that supported me through this, being so enraged that like there was nothing that I could do, because they're like, if you push, he's going to get more time with your child. And I'm like, he literally just put in there, don't beat your wife in front of your kid. And I'm like, what is wrong with this country? What is wrong with this county? So those are kind of things that I was navigating and trying to figure out. And I'm always thinking about like, but for you and how it affected you, very quickly after that, you stopped talking. And I would say it took you till recently.
Literally. Like 20 years.
Like 20 years to finally find your voice. And I'm like, that was devastating to me as your mother. And I'm like, play therapy. Put her in play therapy. And you wouldn't talk. I would have like my own sessions, and they'd be like, yo, this kid, we can't get her to talk. She had been in therapy her whole life. And then at one point you were like, you can't make me go to therapy. And I'm like, if you want to live in this house.
I'm literally like in tears because I didn't want to talk to someone. Like, okay.
And why do you think like you're at the point now where you're like, I love my therapist. Yes.
And I say this all the time. And again, Amir, shout out my goat. So I'm like, I'm too old to be doing this. I'm too old to be acting this way, because it's like, girl, get up. Like, girl, just get up a little bit. Because I was like, well, it was like last year. Like, literally around this time last year, I started seeing her. I was like, girl, freshly, and it wasn't even 22 yet, almost 22. I was like, this year I'm going to be a grown-up. And now, well, I'm 23, so like, almost.
And look at this growth. Like, you were in the car last week, we were talking, you're like, so I unpacked this with my therapist. I'm like, okay.
Shout out my girl. I love her.
But I think like that's the thing too. It's like you had to like I could force you to do it, but you weren't ready. But at least I think what I hope, and maybe it's not true, that like at least it showed you there was no stigma. Maybe you did feel stigmatized by doing it. Like you thought something was wrong with you that you had to,
Oh,
to
yeah.
go to talk to someone. You did?
Yeah.
You felt like you're like, oh, you think I'm crazy. You
No,
need
it's
to
just
talk
like
to
people
someone.
are like, what do you even need a therapist for?
Oh, like people around you.
Yeah, like what's the therapist gonna do? And like that's why y'all need one. Like everyone needs one.
And would you say, like, do you see it culturally or do you see it like racial group or is it just like your people your
Them-
age?
It's the men because they don't.
Of all ages?
Mostly like yeah, but like a lot of like guys I would be like trying to get to know. I'd be like they're trying to be like, oh, we want to hang out this day. I'm like, oh no, I have therapy because I don't really care. I'll tell my
You
business.
normalize it, yeah.
And he's like, what do you need that for? Ooh, and that's when we stop and I hang up on you, and
Yeah.
then on to the next one. Like, what you got that for? Just cause, just cause. And like
Yeah.
I recommend by that reaction, you need that. You need
Right.
that too.
That you're so dismissive of it, yeah. And I see that, that's interesting that you're saying your generation, but you're saying it more like gender. Where I see it, it's like the older generation. Because
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember Khalees and Corinne were here. It might have been 2 years ago. And Graham's outside, and she said, I said something about mental health. And she said something like, there you always talk about mental health.
Don't
And you
even
can
say
see-
the M word around that lady.
You can see like Corinne and Khalees clench, like they clenched their cheeks, like, and they were like, your mom went low and you went lower. And all I said was, oh, how did that work out for you? But what I'll give the grace and understanding is like that generation is called like the silent generation. She's right on the cusp of silent generation
Yeah.
where they didn't talk about their stuff. They didn't talk about their trauma. They just like kept it moving. And I'm like, but you're also a human being and it wasn't right that you had to experience what you experienced. And now what I'll see at 80 is that she's able to name it now. She's able to say, like, she even went to my mom and was like, you need to get some help. And like, it took her that long, but like, I'm like, look at that growth to see, like, it's not something made up. It's not something that's like, that you're crazy. It's like, there's resources. And it's like, just like you have diabetes or heart disease, mental health is also a thing. And like, you can look back and see the path that my mom had. And like, and I'm like, I remember when I was in school, I wrote, like, I read her the DSM. I called my mom up and I said, I'm just going to read you something. And I read her a diagnosis and she goes, that sounds exactly like me. And I was like, yeah. I said, go get some help. But because she wasn't resourced, because Graham was young, didn't have money, no one supported her in telling her, like, your daughter needs help. Like, she was born with an abnormal thyroid. An abnormal thyroid, like, your thyroid controls hormone levels, which also controls your mood and your emotional well-being. So if you are born with something that is not even regulated, like, you're already against. So like, she had that issue from jump. So I think about, like, how do I give my mom even grace, like, because she struggles with mental health, even though, like, I mean, are we gonna talk about where we going? Like, you're not giving grace.
I'm just mad the first thing she said to me, your voice still deep. Okay. Hello to you too, Grandma. Like, okay.
After 14 years and not knowing you.
And still no dolphin.
So do you want to, like, so tell, because I didn't share this with anyone. Like, so where is that coming from? Because like, we hadn't seen her in how many years?
No, not even 14.
It was at least because
Maya's 16.
Maya was a toddler.
She was a toddler?
Yeah, because I had the picture. It was a picture of the generations with
I thought she was a baby.
She was, but she was probably like, she means like she was 2. That's toddler.
No, yeah, I thought she was like fresh.
No, she wasn't. No, she wasn't fresh. 'Cause, like, we had the picture with Mama, so that was a 5
Yeah.
generation picture. But like, that's the last time she was ever here. So she met Emma for the first time. Like, didn't really. It was so. My bio mom popped up out of the. I won't say it was out of the blue, but like, I got word later that same day, and like in a couple hours she was going to be here, and it also happened to be my birthday week, and I was like,
Perfect
this
timing.
is like a sick joke. Right, because I could probably count on, I said this before on the show, like on one hand, how many times my mom has ever said happy birthday to me. She did send me a voice message this time from Graham's phone and said happy birthday. So I'm up to 2 hands. And it's no shade. It's the reality of it. And what that did to me, so talking about the initial trauma of my bio mom not being there supportive or like not saying happy birthday and what that does to a child. And then like having you 10 days after I had my birthday, like that brought all the trauma back. But she comes up here and I'm like, remember I was like, Jojo. And you're like, what? And I remember you were like, during your birthday week? I was like, this is a sick joke. And so I'm processing, do I want to take my girls around it? And you were like, I'm coming. And I was like, we're not popping off, Jojo. But I was like, and I remember being like, I'm the mom. you're the child,
Look at
but
now.
you're also like
I'm
now
old.
this young adult. And I would have been the same way. Like, I'm going to be protected. I'm going to protect my mom. But I was like, I don't want that to happen. I don't know where this lady's emotional state is. Like, she could be, like, she got a good 36 hours and then she flips the other direction. And for her to maintain 4 days was like,
Yeah.
the whole family was like, and I think for me, I remember talking to my therapist. So if y'all watch this. But I remember saying, because she was like, you don't have to see her, Amber. You don't have to do that. I said, I know I don't have to. But I honestly thought the next time I would see my mom, she would be in a casket. And I said, if I have an opportunity to see her while she's yet alive, and I can do my exit if I need to leave, and that's why I had Dad come down and all the things, like I needed a buffer, then I can do that. But there was a little bit, I'm going to be optimistic, but I was like, I've never seen her that stable for that long. And I was like, the whole family was like, we could all breathe. And I'm like, is this like, is she getting help? Like, maybe. But also, like, how messed up is it that I'm like, oh, I don't have a relationship with my mom and she's unstable, and we're like surprised that she was able to not be aggressive or like, combative or anything within 4 days. And I remember saying to Emma, do you think it's weird that you don't know my mom? And Emma was like, no. Because like she has no concept of that. But I think for me as a mother, it's like, I have a whole mother out here. You have a whole grandmother out here that you don't know. And I think that's weird. Like, how do you not? And then what Emma said was, but I have Graham and Pop-Up Eddie and like all, like, and so it's not like do you ever feel like you were at a loss? You never felt that way.
Never got my dolphin. That's what really did it. And then, but Graham's always
the
been,
dolphin though.
and like, cause I was
like, how old?
Well, I was a kid, and now I'm 23.
Core memory.
So still no dolphin. So.
Jojo literally, she remembers. So she said, I was talking on the phone with her one day. You must have been like, I don't know where I was. Like, you probably were like 5 years old, Jojo. And she asked you what your favorite color or animal was? Is that what happened?
Yeah, I was at Graham's house, and we're talking on the phone. She's like, what's your favorite animal? I go, dolphin. She goes, okay, next time I see you, I'll get you a stuffed dolphin. Lo and behold, 15, 14 years later, no dolphin in her hand for me. So, no, we're not cool, Graham. Michelle. No. Until I get my dolphin.
Okay, but let's be real, though, because I left because I had to get Maya, or which kid? Emma to orchestra. And you went back to the house.
Yeah, I went back because I needed to get gas, one. And then I was like, the drive home sounds terrible. So I went back and I chilled for a little bit.
But were you not curious, though?
No, I went and I spent time with Graham and Pop. And then as I was leaving, her and Aunt Christine were sharing their stories. And I couldn't leave because, they talk. Love you guys. I love you, Aunt Chris. But my gosh, I really want to go home and go to bed.
I thought that was really sweet that as sisters that they were able to talk.
Talking about beating up men.
I didn't know. It was interesting. I missed out on all that. So I thought you went back because you were like, let me see how this lady is. I'm curious about her.
No, I'm good. Because Graham, as my entire life, Graham's been your mom.
Right.
Because I don't like, oh, that's my great grandma. No, that's my grandma.
That is, yeah, and that's true. And it's interesting is like when I talk, and a lot of the family doesn't know this, but like I will call Graham mom when I'm like at work and other functions, and then like, but with the family I don't do that because it's very clear indicators that this is not your mom, stay in your place. So there are some things that people will say like my mom or things like that to let me know that. But I remember like even like thinking about Christmases. Like I remember when I was little, like where we would go over Aunt Joanne's and Graham would make sure that I had like the stuff separate so that she wouldn't take it to the house because she would take all the grandkids' gifts. But she would do mine separate. But I'm like, it made sense to me because like you're raising me, you're my mom. But it would be things like that where people would be like, oh, why did she get that? And I'm like, I don't think anyone ever empathized with me and put themselves in my shoes to be like, she don't have a mom. Like her mom, could you imagine your mom leaving you at 4? And I don't think anyone in the family really empathized enough or understood the impact of that. Because even Grandma would be like, but you had me. And I'm like, yes, I did. Thank God. And also, do you know how messed up it is for a 4-year-old to navigate your mother? Like we think about like deadbeat dads. Mm-hmm. Like that makes sense. Like society says like that makes sense. But a mom, like that's not a thing in our society. Like a mom's always supposed to say. So to me, navigate that was part of my not enoughness. And there's something wrong with me. Because why would your mom leave you? And also, why would she not do the work to be well enough to heal, to take care of you? And now I look like full circle. I'm like, is this that restoration work where I talk about with other people that have had addiction issues and mental health issues and they got treatment and they got better, and now they're in their grandchild's life and they're in their family's life. And I'm like, she has a real opportunity to get to know y'all if she were to get well. But I also had opportunity. I have to protect my family because I'm like, if you're not stable, I'm not going to subject my kids and myself to your abuse. And I think people think, well, she has the title of mother, like that's your mom. And I'm like, title, but actually being a mother, like what does that look like? It doesn't look like a traditional sense. And I think people need to understand that, and they don't. So when you put a boundary up as a child and say like, your bio dad's like, I'm your father, you're like, the boundary is the boundary because this is your right in your body. And like, and I don't owe you anything. You owe me everything. Cause like, I didn't do this. I didn't create this. You created it. So what is the onus on the biological parent to repair and do that restoration work? But they always put it on, I guess they put it on the child because that's your mother. But I'm like, that's not my work to do. Like I can forgive her, I can heal, but I can keep my boundary up to keep us safe. So I think that was a big test. Like I think we all survived it. I think it was good. The girls got to meet her. They were all curious, but I asked y'all, like, are you okay? And then she came in and she said, is it okay if I take a picture? She wasn't like imposing. And we'll see if she comes back in a couple weeks. But I think that was it was better than anyone expected.
Absolutely. I was fully ready to fight that woman that day. I was holding a mirror, shut out my goat. I'm like, I'm ready to fight an old lady today.
But the fact that this is even a conversation, I think, and for the grand scheme of people who don't know the backstory, it's a lot. Like, that's a lot that you have a mother that you're, scared is going to be violent or, has been and has significant issues. And so can I also give her grace? But also, this is also how you've shown up. And what Maya Angelou says is like, people show you who they are, they believe them. But this was different. And I would say this is the only time in my life I've seen her like that. And I'm 45. So I always say people can heal, people can change. Medical intervention, therapy does help. And so my prayer is maybe that's what she's doing, because I think my biggest fear is, and I say this for anyone, is that they're going to die broken. And my therapist will argue with me and she was like, that's not your problem. I'm like, I get it's not, but that upsets me. Like, I don't want anyone to die broken or not being free. I think that's like the most painful existence. Like, I want you to be free. So I'm hoping, that's my prayer for my mom. And like, I got to see her while she was yet alive. And like, my kids got to see her. We took a picture. And then I was like, Dad, he was like, I don't do pictures. And I was like, this is like the only picture I'm going to get was like my mom and dad together. So I was like, look at little Amber healing. Like, it was the
And then
whole
he
thing.
did it. Shout out Pop Pop my goat.
My dad came through that day.
No, because I was with him the day before. And I was like, what are we doing?
He did. Like, I was like, Dad, I need you. Yeah, that gave little Amber a little healing there. So I don't know if I didn't share any of those pictures, but I was like, I have them. Those are good pictures to have one day. And then what did you say when you went back to the house? You're like,
Put in your keynote.
no.
I did.
Jojo said outside, she's like, well, this is going to go in the keynote. And I said, it might go in the keynote on Saturday. But like, that's a future keynote for sure. The restoration work and having that picture. Yes, that all my girls were in the picture. But also it was something else though, you said. I lost it. It wasn't the keynote. It might come back to me.
Like, I don't know.
It might come back to me. I don't know. But yeah, I think that was a powerful moment when I think about Mother's Day. And like, I mean, she doesn't have phones, so I can't access her. But we'll see. We shall see. Just taking it one day at a time. Okay. So I think this is the final question, or maybe two more, but let's see where this goes. What does it look like to love each other well in this season of adulthood? I mean, you're like a fake adult, but you're like technically adult, but I still am like, you just said that I was a kid at 22. So like, what do you call yourself then if I'm a kid at 22?
I just feel old. Oh my God. Because I'm the oldest.
This
And,
is
like, your
true.
kids
And
call me young.
and there's a gap. Yes. So to look at like love, how do we love each other well in this season of adulthood?
And like, community is just important, guys. Get you some good friends.
But
Get
what
you
about
some-
us?
Oh, us.
Community is important though. I literally just said that, so I'm echoing that because yes, you can have family support, but if you don't have like, because you can't like talk to your family members about everything.
There goes your son.
And here goes
There goes your son.
Kibo. He does this the last 2 episodes he's been barking.
Well, it's dinner time, literally.
Oh, he passes dinner time. And Maya made him a birthday cake because I shamed her because I said, you didn't even make your brother anything for his birthday. His golden birthday.
No, there she goes. She got him.
We're going to make sure he doesn't bark. Okay, so yes. So in terms of the season of adulthood for us, like what does that look like for us in the season? Because Emma is still little. Maya is like preparing for college and all the things. And then you like being out of the house and being an adult. Like, what does that look like parenting at this stage? And I remember one time you were like, but I'm still your kid, Mom. And I'm like, what does that look like in this adult phase? And I'm like, no one prepared me for parenting an adult. Like, they prepare you in school, you do child development, and then you're like, magically they become an adult and everything's great. And I'm like, yeah, not always.
I don't know literally anything, guys. Keep that in mind if you have a young adult. I'm so clueless. And I can acknowledge I'm not one of 23s who are like, oh, I got everything figured out. I know nothing. And I'm okay with that.
What 23-year-old does?
People think they're smart.
But being smart doesn't mean like, I was smart and look at me.
Well, yeah.
I was smart, but I made a lot of like...
I literally know nothing, and I'm okay with that. But like, I don't know, probably it's really just because I'm your age when you had me, where I'm like, if you say one wrong thing to my mom, I might try and hurt you.
Why?
I mean, like, I've always been like that, but now I can actually do something about it.
So you've always been like that?
Absolutely.
And I don't know if I ever really noticed it, but like, it really showed when my mom was coming. You were like, ah. Like, you were not about to, I'm coming. Like, and I'm like, oh, we're not bringing the heat, Jojo. We're not bringing the heat. And I was just like, bound, like, we don't need to do that. And then like, even Graham was like, let her be who she needs to be for you. Don't, like, let her, if that's how she need to come, let her come the way she needs to come. Because she's here for you. And I was like, you're right. But it was this weird, like, seeing you, like, be like, and I've seen it before, but like, the not, like, this degree was like, no. What time? Like, I'm going to be there. And I was like, oh,
now
no.
I'm, like, out of the house. And, like, I don't know, I'm at the age where, like, and, like, as they say, respect is earned. Just because you're older, that doesn't mean I have to like you. But, like, anyone that's ever wronged you, I will hunt down at this point.
What is happening?
Because I don't...
But why? Because you were like, there was a time.
I know there was.
Where you were like, I don't like you. I can't stand you.
There sure was.
And I'm like,
it was
dang.
like a couple months ago.
We laugh, but
it was literally not that long ago. Like, if I would have still been in this house, we probably still would have been at each other's throats.
True. And I remember talking to adults and I was like, yo, I just think like she would do better if she was at the house. And I remember some people were like, you can't do that, it's your daughter. And I'm like, but I'm telling you, I think some people just learn better. And I remember talking to a friend and she was like, girl, my dad had to kick me out. And it was the best thing for me. And I'm like, and I look now in hindsight, like almost a year, like, and I'm like, she done got her whole state job. She got a whole salary. She's going to bed at like 8:30. She's like, I gotta go to bed. I gotta get up. I gotta be at work at 7. And I'm like, what is happening?
No, yeah, I have stuff to do.
But I think like to your point of being like, for you to say I don't know anything or like know a lot, and I'm like, and there's a lot of people that are cocky and think they know everything. But I also feel like young adults have a lot of wisdom that we don't honor as old heads, and we think that we can tell y'all everything. And I'm like, I'm trying to learn from you. So I was sharing today, and I share this all the time. I talked about it in my keynote. I said, my daughter wrote us a 4-page letter, and it was not like Aaliyah. If y'all don't know that reference, Aaliyah wrote a song, 4-page letter. And I'm like, and read us for filth. And I'm sitting here reading this thing like, this is so good. Like, she's telling us how you feel. And your dad's like, this is disrespectful. And I'm like, no. I am trying to raise particularly women, but just people in general to speak their truth. And I know it was very hard for you because of trauma, that it was hard for you to get your voice. But I was like, okay, write it down. And when you did, I said, dang. And I had to sit with that thing. And I was like, she ain't wrong.
If I'm being so honest, I think I blacked out because I don't remember doing it.
Oh, I still have that letter.
I don't remember a single thing I wrote.
It wasn't wrong. And I think like being in this stage, like where you're older, where you can be like, Mom. And I'm like,
because I'm out of the house.
And I'm like, but also when you were still here, you were like, Mom.
I did. I don't remember anything.
You don't remember? You would be like,
oh yeah.
What the heck?
Yeah.
Like for real. Like, and I'm like, oh. And I thought the thing went blank.
Me too.
But I think that is the thing, and it's the power of like, how do we build a relationship with our kids where they can speak their truth? And like, because I think a lot of times, like if you're going through things in your marriage or like in life, your kids, and you think you're keeping it from your kids.
We know everything.
Y'all do.
We know everything.
And so, and even if you don't see, you feel it. You feel the weight of it. So we're not doing our kids any favor. So if I allow you to speak and be like, hey, I don't think it's disrespectful. It's just like, it's honest because like that's helping you to purge so that you don't internalize that like how I internalize at my house. I internalize all that. And then you make the decision that you make because you're like, oh, this is how you think love is supposed to be. And the more we can be honest about like, you don't deserve this or you deserve better or I don't like that or now I'm questioning that. I think that is a healthier way for you to see it doesn't have to be like this. Or maybe that's not for me, or I look at it differently and like, oh, what do I actually deserve? Because I think at 40 or 41, I started being like, ooh, I have needs. How do I nourish my needs? And I remember doing a retreat, and my therapist was like, you need to do the work that you're doing for your retreat. And I was like, bet. And I'm like, I remember being in the room at night and doing it, and I'm like nourishing my needs. I'm like writing out, ooh, connection, like all these things. And I came home and I told your dad, these are my needs. And he was like, they sound like wants. And I was like, they're basic needs. They're basic needs. And I think like the basic needs is like now when I can name my needs and he's like, and he can sit and be like, breathe through it and be like, oh, I hear you. Like I just, it was like, if it's that thing is not aligned with my values as a Black woman, as a woman who did her doctoral research on Black female identity development. And that was a hard conversation, but he was like, ooh, he brought it back in another situation. He was like, but remember you talked about values and alignment. I was like, oh, he's listening. And all that work. And it's like, okay, the patience, the learning how to talk and address my needs and understanding that I do deserve this and that how do I get my needs met has been life-changing. So my hope is that you're 40, that you're not trying to undo all the things and learning what your needs are and thinking that you deserve less or that as a Black woman in this world that your needs, because the world's showing you that, right?
Right.
That you don't matter, your needs don't matter. But we're trying to cultivate a world like, absolutely, I'm human, I'm fully human. And what does it look like for me to be fully human? Take the cape off, not do, what did you say, the S word, the strong. Weakness is not saying I need help or I need to go to therapy. I think that we weaponize strength and say, oh, you have to take that on. Even thinking about when it was brought up that my mom can come to my house. And it was, if you're strong enough, and it had nothing to do with strength. The strength was my boundary in saying, no, she can't come to our home. I'll come there, but she can't come here. And that's what strength is saying, putting up a boundary and saying, what do I need to feel safe? What do I need so that I can love you? So Prentice Hemphill says the boundaries that I need to love you and me simultaneously. So boundaries are not like a rejection. It's like, I need this to make myself feel safe and I'm going to prioritize my safety. So what does it look like for you to prioritize your safety? And I know you had some rough patches like in a relationship, right? And you literally made the same
Don't
face.
even bring up that.
You literally made the same face that Emma makes. Like, I think y'all get that from me. That must be what people are saying when sometimes when they watch the episode, they're like, y'all make the same face. You literally just, that must be in my face. But thinking about, and we processed that and you were like, I didn't learn those things. Or like, I saw this, so I thought it was okay. And like now, because you had that experience, you're like, I can learn better now. And then so for me, generation is saying like, yes, Graham had my mom, I think at 17, mom had me at 18, I had you at 22, and here you are at 23. We talked about generational curses, and I feel some way about that, but you make a conscious choice in saying, I'm going to do what I needed to protect myself because I'm not ready. And also, the world is not ready, right? So what does that look like for you? So I think with that is, what do you hope, because you're the next generation for our family, what do you hope for the generation of women in our family in terms of our healing or our development? Or what do you hope that you can bring and shed light on as the women in our family continue to evolve or not? It's a conscious choice.
In the kindest words.
Oh, gosh.
I'm not going to name names, even though I could. The women in our family love to settle. Seen it multiple times.
So do you think there's an issue with women, like in our family, or just in general, where we think we have to be married and that's what the love can only come through relationship or like a romantic relationship, and that you're saying that you could also access that through friendship?
I have some of the greatest friends of all time. Where like, if I had a boyfriend, it'd just be like a waste.
Why?
Well, like, they're already annoying. But like who needs a boyfriend? I have like the best friends of all time.
And are you saying like you don't need a boyfriend right now? Like, that's not something, maybe it's like a maturity thing, or you're just not ready, or like you're thinking like,
yeah,
in the foreseeable future, like I just don't need that. That's not something that I need in my life in this moment.
Like, I'm not fit to be someone's mother. I'm not fit to be someone's girlfriend. And I know that.
I think that is huge, right? Because there was a time where you're like, oh my God, I need a boyfriend. And now you're like, yeah, no, I'm going to continue to do this work over here. And like, I don't need that right now. I think that is huge. And I think something your dad and I talk about, like we got together at like, what, 23, like your age. And
Ooh, I jumped.
22.
I jumped. I literally jumped.
23.
Ooh.
And thinking, and then we got married at 27. And we think back now, we're like, yeah, we weren't ready for that, for real. Like, so there was so much growth that we had to do. And I hear about people that are younger when they can kind of get married young and they grow up together, or people that are older that, you know, get married later in life, and how you're already set in your ways and it makes it a lot harder. I don't think marriage is hard at or easy at any level, but maybe there is some truth to like if you're growing up together, but I think it is harder when you're more rigid and set in your ways. But like something your dad will say is, I feel like you change every few years. And so to the point of like earlier when I said like the different phases of me, yes, I am growing. And like I think sometimes women will say like we feel like we grow exponentially, you know, quicker or evolve more than men. And that can be hard. Like you ever see people like later, like when their kids go off to college or leave the house and they get divorced and you're like, y'all already got it 40-something years. But you grew apart in that time. So how do you grow? And how does the other partner say, like, if they're growing and I'm not, this isn't going to work? And that's something your dad and I have talked about. Like, he does his work, I'm doing my work. And that's a lot of relationships don't do that. Mm-hmm. So I will give a lot of grace and credit, especially for Black men. They ain't trying to do that work. And I don't want to like overgeneralize, but like that's something we talk about in the Black community because like you said earlier, like why are you going to therapy? Like that kind of thing is there's a stigma attached. One, because we don't have access, and two, because we don't have therapists that look like us and they're not culturally responsive.
Exactly.
I had a therapist before that was like, you know how men are. And I was like, man, we're done here. Or I was talking to her about the racism I was experiencing. And she was like, I don't get it. We're done here. So I think that's hard, the access, feeling like we can be supported and seen and people not understanding our experience. So like, I'm not going to access that. And also we're told that we got to be strong and we got to shoulder it, and that's weak. And I'm like, no, it's real weak what y'all out here doing. Like not being in touch with your emotions, harming other people because you're blowing your trauma through other people's bodies and not healing yourself. So I give you kudos because I know it was like a really hard road for you to be like, you in play therapy, girl. So like, I love my therapist. She's my goat. To being like, oh, that guy don't like therapy. We're done here. To being like, I'm not in a place where I need to be in a relationship. I'm like, this is all the things that you hope as a mother that you're like, even though all the rough patches, you're like, I planted seeds and I hope that they're there. And to see you now, 23, I'm like, the seeds are planted and they're there. And I'm like, I didn't screw you up. So I think like people think, I say to people, I'm like, if you're real good, like I said, you're going to have mommy issues and daddy issues. And if you're real good, you're going to have both. And I'm like, yes, you're going to have those issues because I wasn't perfect. But what I'm hoping, like, and what I see now is like there's grace, and you're taking those lessons and you're also being like, and calling me to be better still. And I think that's the thing. It's like, it can't be like, I'm still pouring into you. Like, you're pouring into me and you're like, come on, man.
Like, you know, you can only raise your mother so much. I've done my part. I'm out of the house now. It's up to the youngest. So, Emma, that's the baton, you take it.
I think I'm just going to end it on that because that's a bar. Is that what y'all say? That's a bar? You could only raise your mom so much is like, I need to get her a t-shirt that says that. That's wild. Y'all. So now you got a full dose of what did Emma say her chicken nugget was? Like, let your babies grow up. And you see how grown she is. She just told me she could only raise me so much.
I did my best. Look at her now.
She gets all the credit. What are you gonna say really, in my chat, in the comments? You're gonna be like, my pride and joy.
I did my biggest one with her. And like Maya, she turned out well. But my mom, like, oh my gosh, I really poured into her. I could be more proud. My mom, Dr. Amber Sessoms, by the way. Doctor.
That thing almost took me out.
Doctor.
That might be, that's like, I hope that's like a core memory. I really poured into my mom. That's the clip. That's the whole episode. She poured into me. She did her part. She's passing the baton to Maya and Emma. To Emma. Maya's like, Mom, it's whatever. I'll buy some macarons.
So she's all right.
Thank you, Jojo.
Oh, thank you, Mom.
Like, I think this is...
Thank you.
This is the best Mother's Day.
I love my mom, guys.
She does. Like, I mean, will go like, I mean, even when this whole thing was going down, like Amisa's being like, girl, Jojo is ready to go. And then I said, the two of y'all together, problem.
That's my goat. Shout out my aunt, my goat. She might see this. Hey, clip this and send it to her. Misa, you know I love you, girl.
But on the final note of you raising me and doing your best, and you poured into me, and your cup is still overflowing.
Look at this flower I bloomed. Ah! See, guys, look at my mom. I love my mom. Ah, I love my mom. OMG, chat. I love my mom.
Oh, this is the best episode. I hope y'all watch this. This is so good.
Everyone watch this.
Look, Emma's gonna get booted.
Everyone tag me and tell me
One day, what I want to do, if we can convince
it's not
Maya.
gonna happen. You don't even have to say it. It's not gonna happen.
The three of y'all.
Okay.
You and Emma could carry the conversation, and Maya can just like give a couple words.
Can I be so honest? It's gonna have to be just me and Maya.
Oh, you can't do Emma?
And I'm just the way she is. It's just gonna have to be me there. Cause she won't talk unless I'm there.
This is true.
I love my sister and like my pride.
All of my and like parents, you know this. All your kids are different, and you just gotta let them be who they're gonna be. And that's the biggest thing. Like, I don't want to force my kids to be anything they don't want to be. Like, be you, unapologetically you, be authentically you. Because what I always say is like, what the world needs is the truest version of you, not the fake cookie cutter version of the version that we try to box ourselves into as Black women or whatever else. And all of y'all are so different. And we let Maya be Maya. Maya likes, but y'all have those things that come about anime.
Me and Maya are the same person, believe it or not.
You say that.
Mom.
So maybe like that she evolves.
Maya, the older she gets, the more she becomes like me, which I think is awesome. Once she starts talking more.
She's getting there.
I know.
Europe's going to be the test.
I love her. I love my sister. Shout out Maya, my goat.
Her pride and joy.
Literally.
And I'm the flower that she bloomed, y'all.
Thank
and
you.
what about Emma?
She's still in the ground somewhere. Almost. I mean, she's 11. What can you do with an 11-year-old?
A lot.
I know.
That's
but
the whole
like,
point of this podcast. You can
I
do
know
a lot
that.
with an
But
11-year-old.
like, she's still a kid. And like a baby. She's still really a baby.
She is not a baby anymore. She makes that very clear.
What's she?
She's going into middle school.
And that's still a baby because I'm old.
On that, y'all, the blossoming flower here, she poured into me. I hope this inspires you to have a conversation with your older child. I talked about earlier, and I remember talking about how I talked to Graham, and this young adult was like, I could never talk to my mom. And I said, I honor that. Like, if you don't have that relationship, that's good. But I'm like, I hope you can get to a point where you can speak your truth and say what you need to say.
Didn't. This is fresh.
Girl, when I say she ain't want to talk to me.
We worked for this. This is fresh.
Look at the work, though.
And child, look at us now.
I did have a moment this weekend when I was like, Uncle Avery.
Yeah, literally.
I'm like on the phone with him, like, yo. He'd be like, sis. I'm like, Avery, you better get your niece. He's proud of us.
Absolutely.
We love you, Avery.
Love you, Unc.
Love you, Jojo.
Love you, Mom.
My flower blooming.
My mom.
I'm blooming. Bye, y'all.
I'm so glad you joined me and Mommy for this episode of Living in 3D Power. I hope you like it. Now do me a favor before you leave. Subscribe to our Substack and make sure you subscribe to wherever you listen to podcasts too. And hey, do me another favor. Share this episode with a friend or family member. If something we said made you laugh, made you smile, or it might mean something to them, just send it away. Okay, one more favor. That's a lot of favors, I know. Head over to the comments on our social media. Tell us what made you say, that's deep, bro. Because your words encourage other people and they encourage us too. See you next time.